And welcome to those here in attendance, and then all of those, as Commissioner Wance would say, thousands watching, either live or taped on. Before we start, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and as we're standing, take the opportunity for a moment of silence to think about those, as has been said, those in harm's way, and also the men and women in red and blue. Thanks. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And it did say, those that are in harm's way, it's unfortunate this week, a couple of soldiers were unfortunately killed in Afghanistan from an inside threat, and it's, I think, up to 14 this year. So we're continuing still putting people in harm's way for allowing us to have the freedoms we have. So that's my 2 cents. With that said, Priority Carol, Commissioner Boucher.
Good, thank you. Good morning, everyone. This week I've had several tours of our organization, starting with Ms. Kim Frock, Human Resources Director, and her staff. They briefed me on the county salary and employee retention concerns. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Also did a tour with Lionel Steckles of License and Permits, who educated me on his department and the process they oversee concerning residential house construction. He also gave me a tour of a construction site to show all the most recent standards that we comply to ensure that our homes are the best built. I'd also like to give a thanks to Eric Burdine, Bureau Chief of Construction Engineering, and his staff, who gave me a tour of the Farm Museum, where they've restored the foundation of the old barn. Strong believer in a farm museum for tourism, so I'm glad we allocate the resources to do that. Also received a tour of the public training facility and the plans we have in the future to upgrade that to enhance the safety of our emergency services professionals. I'd like to thank everyone for the time they've taken to make me a more educated commissioner. And with that information, hopefully I'll make better decisions concerning your department. So thank you very much.
Okay.
First of all, Sunday, Commissioner Boucher and I judged the car show at the 4-H and FFA fair. That was interesting.
We felt young with those old cars.
I tell you, that was a tough job. They had some amazing vehicles out there, and we talked about it afterwards here, and we did have some of the same views, but some amazing vehicles. How in the devil you rank some of them, I don't know.
It was tough.
It's very tough. And with that being said, this is Fair Week in Carroll County, and I think we need to go out. Friday night is, I think, the livestock sale, and if anybody needs a lamb, pig, steer, turkey, chicken, whatever else they're selling there, they will have them taken wherever you want to take them to. You can take them home if you want, and support the 4-H and FFA group there. So I think Commissioner Rothstein's going to be talking a little bit about the cake auction here that was held last night, but it's great to get out, take a minute, go out to lunch, go over, grab a sandwich there, support the fair a little bit, and evening events every night. They have something different going on. So if you can this week, please get out and support.
And it's a good segue. Audrey and I were out there Sunday at the fair. It was a beautiful day. And then also we had the Chamber of Commerce breakfast on Monday morning. And what's her name? Ms. 4-H toured us around afterwards to the different venues within the fair. Last night was the cake auction, and I never thought I'd be saying something like this, but it looks like $84,000 was raised from the cake auction last night, is with the projection from this morning. The grand champion of the cake auction, and strong kudos to Joey Battaglia for his chocolate baking cake, which brought in $15,000 for one cake. So
Did you buy it?
I was close. No.
I was saying if you bought it, you could share it.
So $84,000 last year. They raised, we were told, $70,000 from this cake auction. And once again, this is just an incredible testament to the community to keep fairs like this going, both of 4-H and FFA. So the proceeds go to the fair, and proceeds from the livestock auction on Friday will also go to the 4-H, I believe, and FFA, at least part of the proceeds from that. So, you know, this is just a great opportunity to see some really cool stuff at the fair, be a part of an incredible community that we have here in Carroll County.
And the business community, as well as a lot of citizens, support
Absolutely.
this. The businesses come together, and they donate a lot of time, money, and effort to make that happen. And we have fantastic support in this community.
It really does bring together community, business, academia, the schools, and our government all coming together on the fairgrounds. And they go through Saturday
Saturday.
is the last day of the fair. So, Commissioner Frazier?
I was going to mention something about the fair, but I will say, I was at the fair last night for the cake auction. I did buy cake, but it was not at the auction. I have to say that. They sell cakes that are not auctioned off in the building, and those are the ones I could afford, so I bought some cake and cookies from there.
On
So it worked
teacher
out very
salary,
well.
right?
I know. Well, I'm a retired teacher now, so
Retired
make
teacher.
even less. So I also want to say that the Union Bridge Fire Company is at the fair selling fried chicken. I had some of their fried chicken last night. It was great. So you can support the fair, you can support the fire companies all in one swoop by going up and buying some fried chicken from them. And the demolition derby is, what night is it, Commissioner Weaver?
Is it Friday
I
night?
thought it was Friday
I
night.
think it's Friday night.
Demolition Derby is coming up.
Yeah.
I always go to Demolition
Yep.
Derby. I like to see where my old cars end up now. I like to see how it is. It's very interesting, and it's always packed. My suggestion, hit the Demolition Derby on Friday night.
Okay.
All right.
Any alibis on Priority Carol? Okay, let's get started with Ms. Frock. Let's talk about health and dental insurance employee rates for calendar year 2020.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kimberly Frock, Director of HR, and Robin Hooper, HR Manager. On July 25th, Robin and I presented to the Board the calendar year 2020 health and dental insurance premium rates, or, excuse me, contribution rates. We don't pay premiums. As a refresher, the medical rates are going up from 27 cents to 74 cents a paycheck if it's in the Choice Plan, 43 cents to $1.19 per paycheck if it's in the Choice Plus Plan. So that equates out to $7.02 to $19 a year, or $11 to $30 a year, if you go with the two ends there, okay? The dental rates are increasing between 19 and 63 cents a paycheck, which means it goes from $4.94 a year to $16.38 a year higher for employees. And we're able to do this because employees have done very well with their health insurance by using generic medications, using in-network providers, which keeps our costs down. Therefore, our recommendation are these rates, and if the board has no questions, well, let me back up. We did send the email out to all the employees with the recommended rates. At this time, we have received no comments back, okay? So if there are no further questions, I would ask the board to approve the rates for the calendar year 2020.
Okay, any discussion?
Nope.
I'll
Hear a
move the
motion?
Board of County Commissioners approve employee contribution rates for health and dental insurance as recommended by Human Resources.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
Okay,
much.
unanimous.
Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Aren't you glad you came back for that?
That's right. And I appreciate reaching out to the employees.
No
Yeah,
problem.
very well
Yeah.
put together.
Hopefully that's a sign how every item on the agenda is on again.
Yeah, don't count on it.
Okay, let's talk access control, phase 2. Jason, believe you're coming up? Oh, okay. Okay,
Morning.
okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going, Commissioners?
Life is good.
All right, so we're requesting your approval to contract with Marathon Technology Solutions to provide an upgrade to the access control system in the amount of $201,020. This phase is, the second phase request includes 911, Center Campus, County Office Building, Citizen Service, roadway buildings, and the Westminster Library. This amount is within the budget and no additional funds will be necessary.
Was this a competitive bid?
This is a term contractor through Marathon who has the contract for Phase 1, which we are doing the county courthouse annex right now and the historic courthouse.
It's term for how long?
I'm not sure how long their term is
How
good
long's
for.
left? I would have to check that. I don't know how many is left on it.
So it's a continuation of term,
Mhm.
Yes.
and they have a certain amount of options after the beginning of their term, I would expect.
One-year renewals.
Are they in the one-year renewal at this point, or is this
I would have to check
within the
on-
term? You know,
I'm not
I don't know the date.
Yeah,
I'll just speak
that's
specifically,
okay.
this was bid through like similar to a U.S. Communities contract throughout
Okay.
the country.
Right.
So we piggybacked on one of those competitive bid processes. And I know we shared that information with you as part of the first phase
Right.
of this part. So this is just an extension of that original contract.
But it's within the term itself. It's not, this is not the option.
That's
year.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
I just want to make sure, okay, got it. Okay. Any comments,
no.
any?
I make a motion, the Board of Commissioners award the contract to upgrade the access control system to Marathon Technology Solutions in the amount of $201,020.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now let's talk about John Deere.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're requesting your approval to award the purchase of a 2019 John Deere 544L wheel loader to John Deere, care of Jesco, in the amount of $136,387.81. Sourcewell awarded John Deere a cooperative contract through Jesco for the equipment, and it is competitively bid. This is a replacement to be used by Roads Department and will replace a 2010 case loader. The amount is funded within the budget, and no additional funds will be needed.
So what happens with the 2010 case loader? Is
We're
it
actually trading that in on the purchase.
awesome?
So
How much are you getting for it?
$50,000. It was a good deal, we
It's a
thought.
good deal.
Yeah.
I was going to buy it for
fantastic.
20, but 50 was.
Is this used to load salt?
Roads Department uses it to load salt, snow removal, loading
Everything.
millings, anything that needs to be loaded over there,
They load.
debris removal.
Now, this went through a competitively bid process.
Yes.
You sent it out to,
It was done by Sourcewell, and we're writing their contract. They competitively bid it, and then any municipality or government can ride the contract.
Can you walk us through Sourcewell briefly? What is Sourcewell?
You know Sourcewell?
Sourcewell, they offer government contracts through Sourcewell at discounted prices where they've already competitively bid. So we use them when we can, so we can get competitive pricing,
We've been using them for a while.
as far as I know, yes.
Yeah, I think their name before was NJPA, and now they're Sourcewell, so we have been using them for a while. Same as US Communities, one of those types of bids.
does that come in cheaper than if we were to send individual bids out to, ask for bidding, the bidding process through individuals?
I would assume so because of volume. We did not bid this one independently ourselves. But I would assume they work directly with John Deere. They don't work with a local dealer. And I would assume because of the volume, yes, they probably do get a better price.
Making an assumption may not be the right approach,
I
and
said
a
I-
little bit more facts, so.
Good morning, Commissioners. So, this actual Sourcewell, they are a conglomerate that works with all manufacturers. So instead of going directly to vendors, for example, in this case, John Deere, they work directly with John Deere Corporate and all the corporate agencies. Might be Husqvarna, might be, any of the larger dealers of equipment. And then they competitively bid all those pieces and then subsequently assign them to their dealers who is best able to handle that piece of equipment. So you may be thinking, Commissioner, of a local like Finch or someone like that. If they were able to handle that and normally handled that big of a piece of equipment, then they might get selected by John Deere to provide that to us. In this case, John Deere has selected that company based in Frederick to provide the equipment as they normally provide that construction equipment. This is again, competitively bid. And with regard to saving money, it certainly does, because then staff doesn't have to put the language
Right.
together to actually do the individual bidding process. They simply go in and look for the piece of equipment that we need, and then we allow all of the manufacturers to competitively bid against each other, rather than going to individual dealerships.
When we trade in a vehicle like that, is it going through Sourcewell to be disposed of within the price, or do we have an option of it going out into an auction, or how's that?
So we think this is pretty good, and Keith has the exact numbers. Keith, when we bought that vehicle, it was what?
When we bought the caseload originally, it was $155,199.
Right, and we're getting $50,000
Wow.
in return, which is a direct return as part of this process on the trade-in. We feel that's pretty good. These particular pieces of machinery, and this one in particular, is based at our maintenance center, meaning that it is our primary. We take all of our bulk delivery of salt at one location because it saves the county money, and then when we go out to our other salt domes, we load it up, we transport it. It saves us money in the long run. But that means that these types of equipment are in the salt virtually all the time, which certainly has wear and tear on the equipment and causes it to go out. This particular piece also, and Keith does have the facts on that, recent maintenance issues, Keith, if you could, hear that?
Since 2017, we spent $32,848 maintaining this machine. It's needed hub seals, it's needed wheels, it's needed cylinders, it's had leaks.
Right.
One of its main issues is with rust.
From your experience, what is a typical shelf life of this type of vehicle? I mean, we've gotten it through 9 years, which is pretty impressive, I would think, but,
Usually about 10 when it's in the salt,
Okay.
as often as it is.
In this environment, right? It's
Okay.
in the environment we're putting it in,
Right.
which is crucial.
As someone who's actually repaired heavy equipment like this, I can testify how abrasive and corrosive salt really is on that
Yeah.
equipment. So the life expectancy you're getting out of it is about right.
Yeah, and if we weren't, right now, we've got about, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, $9,000 in repairs that would be forthcoming if we didn't trade it right
Right.
now.
Yes, I know off the top of my head it needs 2 additional rims, which are $4,500 for 2 rims, and it's very close to needing the main hydraulic valving, which would, when we did one on John Deere, it was about $10,000.
Thank you for the clarification on
Yep.
that.
yeah, I appreciate it. I think getting it through 9 years and getting $50,000 in return for it is a testament of the workforce maintaining the property and the vehicles, and not just letting them go, because it could be easy to do, and getting a third back is pretty impressive after 9 years. So again, I think that's a strong testament to you and your team in maintaining vehicles.
Thank
So,
you.
With that
Okay.
said, I move that the Board of Commissioners award the contract for a 2019 John Deere 544L wheel loader to Jesco Inc. in the amount of $136,387.81.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Where'd the 81 cents come from?
81
I'm
cents.
always baffled by that myself.
Okay, going from John Deere, let's talk about some Ford Fusion models.
We're requesting your approval to award the purchase of 3 Ford Fusion S models to Apple Ford in a total amount of $51,660. These vehicles were awarded through the State of Maryland contract, which is a competitively bid process. The new Ford Fusion S models will be going to Aging, Citizen Services, Public Works as replacement vehicles. This amount is within the budget and no additional fees will be necessary.
Okay, I am going to recuse myself from discussion because Apple Ford, not knowing this, I'm very close with the owners of Apple Ford. So very confident in the process that you've done, but
What happens to the old vehicles?
We're going to sell them at auction, public auction. We have an online auction.
They have a lot of miles on them.
One has, the Public Works one has 92,000, the Citizen Services has 85,000, and Aging has 95,000. And these are a 1999, a 2004, and a 2007 Ford Taurus.
Barely broken in.
I know. It's like a new car for me.
Okay.
Make a motion, the Board of Commissioners award the purchase of the 3 Ford Fusion S models to Apple Ford in the amount of $51,660.
I'll second that.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And I will abstain. Thank you. Now let's go to SUVs.
We're requesting your approval to award the purchase of two 2019 Chevrolet Equinox SUVs to Sport Chevrolet in a total amount of $44,726. These vehicles were awarded through the State of Maryland contract, which is competitively bid. These new 2019 Chevrolet Equinox SUVs are replacement vehicles for the Bureau of Engineer Inspection, and the funds are within the budget, and no additional funds will be needed.
Make a motion, the Board of Commissioners award the purchase of two 2019 Ford Equinox SUVs to Sport Chevrolet in the amount of $44,726.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're moving right along. Let's talk about Quail Meadows Pathway. Who wants to get up here?
Well, that cleared the room.
Yeah, it did.
Morning.
Morning, Andy.
We're requesting your approval to award a contract for the hot mix asphalt restoration of the Quail Meadows Pathway to Stanballs Incorporated in the amount of $28,572. This award will be made via a competitively bid term contract. Bids were solicited from 4 contractors, and proposals were received from 2 of these contractors. The bid amount is within the adopted budget, and no additional funds will be necessary.
Where exactly is Quail Meadows Pathway?
It's off of, it's in a neighborhood off of Harvest Farm Road in the Eldersburg area.
Okay.
This is a pathway that's just used by our Public Works Department, or just?
It's a pathway that was built as part of the HOA that the Bureau used as the access point to gain, to have heavy equipment reach a manhole structure.
Right, okay. But it's for our equipment to reach the structures, not for the community to walk on like a pathway around the community.
No, it is a community pathway.
Oh, it is?
Yes. That we.
So it's both?
Yes.
Okay. All
We
right.
have an easement over it, but its
Gotcha. All
primary
right.
use is a community pathway.
I see that it had been previously damaged by construction. Is that true? Can you elaborate on that?
It was damaged as part of our construction activity. The pathway was actually used as the access point to reach a manhole structure by very heavy equipment. The
Okay.
pathway was not built to roadway standards.
So we're gonna restore it back to where it was, or
We are
better?
As per what it was in 2016.
Okay.
So it's co-use, but we do have the responsibility to maintain it.
We have the responsibility to put it back to its
To put it-
shape that we found it
Got
in.
it.
Right.
Okay, I'll make the motion to move that Board of Commissioners award contract for the hot mix asphalt restoration of the Quail Meadows Pathway to Stanball Inc. in the amount of $28,572.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Okay, let's talk about Senior Medicare Patrol Grant Application for 2019-2020 grant year. Miss Celine, Miss Gina.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm Celine Steckel, the Bureau Chief of Aging and Disabilities, and with me today is Gina Valentine, our Aging and Disabilities Services Supervisor. We're here with you this morning to seek approval for our Senior Medicare Patrol Grant Award application, to submit application, as well as the award acceptance if approved. Our Senior Medicare Patrol Program is an anti-healthcare fraud, waste, and abuse project administered by the Maryland Department of Aging through the Administration on Community Living. The Senior Medicare Patrol Program provides outreach and education to Medicare beneficiaries to prevent and detect and report healthcare fraud and abuse. Our program also focuses our efforts to recruit, train, and support a network of volunteers to provide the outreach and education, and we have about 8 current volunteers that assist with that as well. The 2019-2020 grant year will include a focus to reach and provide group outreach and education to Medicare beneficiaries with disabilities and those specifically living in rural areas. Our allocation, which is formula funded, would be $3,619 this year. and that allocation would be used to help support the position of our SHIP program specialist.
How much fraud do we have with Medicare? Do we pick things up every year?
So the purpose of the program is to educate people, beneficiaries, so that they can identify it. But in most instances, it's a billing error, or that needs to be corrected, or some type of a misunderstanding. The incidents of fraud are minimal. We have had to pass along complaints that were actual fraud, but they're minimal. A lot of times, again, it's a billing error or something that was coded incorrectly, or an amount that was posted incorrectly, but not intentional.
Well,
And
that's
it just
good to hear.
Takes working with Medicare or the doctor's office to resolve those issues.
Renew my faith in mankind.
Yes.
Here, so.
The
this-
formula, go, please.
Excuse me, Commissioner. Is this reoccurring? Have we done this before? And if so, how long have we been doing it, and what's its success rate?
It's definitely a grant renewal. I think as long as the SHIP program has been, in effect, which has been for how many years?
I want to say probably at least 13 to
Okay.
13, 15 years.
15 years.
So this is nothing new.
No, this is nothing new. Every once in a while, the requirements in the grant as to what population we need to focus on might change a little bit. For the past several years, they've wanted us to focus on the rural areas and do further outreach into those areas. And we also, and we do that by, through educational sessions throughout the community, one-on-one appointments, and then we also hold every year shredding events at each of the senior and community centers that are at no cost to the individuals that come to bring their documents, and that's in an effort to, combat identity theft, so people are shredding those sensitive documents.
And the Senior Medicare Patrol Program is an enhancement to our SHIP program, because ultimately everything that we do with our state health insurance and assistance program ties directly with this. We always do the outreach with individual counseling sessions when people come in for healthcare benefit consultation and assistance with Medicare Part D enrollment. We're also touching on this piece as well with every single person that we serve. So it really ties with that, and it's really a combined program in most AAAs across the state and the nation.
So this is an important component in your overall department and your objectives.
It is. It is. It definitely is.
For the amount, and we're successful with it, and we don't have to match nothing on it?
No match.
So it's basically free money?
It's just a piece of the SHIP program, yes.
That's true.
The formula, you said it's formula driven. Has it been adjusted over years, or is it typically around this amount? I mean, has the population basically stayed relatively the same, and therefore we're only getting the 3,600, or has it been adjusted?
I think that the MDOA allocates that to us based on what they're receiving from the federal government for this
Okay.
funding. So I think that
Okay.
our allocation is based on the formula that we don't always have access to with MDOA, the formula that they allocate to us. But I think it's been very similar over the years.
Is the formula based on the population here in Carroll County?
That's a piece of it.
That's a piece of it. Okay.
They also look at minority numbers, rural numbers,
Right.
and things like that.
Okay.
I'll move the Board of Commissioners approve the Senior Medicare Patrol grant submission and acceptance to the award.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now let's talk about Veterans Affairs support to housing vouchers.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Danielle Yates. I am the Bureau Chief of Housing and Community Connections. Joining me today is Gina Valentine, who is our Aging and Disability Supervisor, and Debbie Standiford, who is in our Grants Office. On July 5th, we received notice from the Department of Housing and Urban Development that a notice was released making an approximate 5,000 new additional HUD-VASH vouchers available to all public housing authorities. HUD has requested that interested PHAs submit a registration of interest by August 19th of 2019. Our agency has discussed the need for additional HUD-VASH vouchers with our Veterans Program along with the Baltimore VA Medical Center. Both are in support that our Public Housing Authority will submit a registration of interest with your permission for an additional 10 HUD-VASH vouchers. Last year, in April of 2018, our Public Housing Authority initially was awarded 10 HUD-VASH vouchers. Those vouchers are fully being utilized by our Public Housing Authority. There is no county funding that is required to support these vouchers. Are there other questions that we can answer for you as well?
Why would we not do this?
Well, we feel that there's definitely a need. We've spoke with the Baltimore VA Medical Center because we need their support. They are in full support and will be providing us a letter of support to go with our registration, and we absolutely feel there's the need, yes.
Are you asking, sorry, are you asking for 10, or someone's telling you that we can only have 10?
Well, we're asking for 10, and what it is even though we have 59 self-identified VA participants that are on our wait list, we sat down with the Baltimore VA and we have identified at least 8 individuals that we know can participate immediately.
What's a self-identified veteran?
When they self-identify, you check a box.
Oh,
So even
okay.
though you check that box, what we do is we refer them then to the Veterans Program so they can work with them to see if they truly do identify as a veteran.
Did we aim too low? Should we have asked for 20 and not 10?
Well, when we discussed with Baltimore VA, because they have to provide services as well,
Right.
I guess they're kind of restricted with case management, so they would agree on 10.
Okay. I mean, this is a good news story again. Our county, you and the team do so much for our veterans. It's still not enough. And when you see a number 59 and you're only getting 10 vouchers, you're like, okay, what about those others? So continue doing what you're doing. You know, I appreciate everything that you and the team do, taking care of this community. And this is a step in the right direction. So thank you.
There's no county match to this, right?
There's no county match. There's no
right?
funding at all required.
Wow.
Okay.
I'll move the Board of Commissioners approve the request to apply for additional Veteran Affairs supportive housing vouchers.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much
you
for your
do.
efforts on this.
Okay, Tom, you up, you're up.
Batter up. You better swing fast, because
Let's
he
talk
moves
about
this meeting.
Langdon Project.
I was paying attention.
Maryland.
Actually, someone was paying attention for me.
That's a good answer, so.
That's right.
Train
Okay.
to standard, not time.
Commissioners. Thank you. I'm here before you today to request the board's approval to contract for the supply of soil removal for the Langdon project, Stormwater Management Project, which is located in the city of Westminster. On your screen here, you can see this is where the property is located. It's immediately adjacent to the railroad, which is this yellow line that runs in this direction here. You can see that hand, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then George Street is here, Route 27 is Liberty Road is over here, and then Main Street is further out beyond where it says Winter Street there, is further out that direction there. So I just want to give you a little brief history about this, because we've been working on this for quite a long time. This project has been in the, kind of the conceptual and then working process since about 2011. We've been looking in this general area to do something on a more comprehensive level for our MPDS program. And again, this is one of the retrofits that is geared towards our MPDS program. We've been working cooperatively with the City of Westminster on this project. It is quite a large project. We began actually looking further south than the location you see on the screen initially, but because of some of the constraints there with residences and property owners, we moved further up. We actually did a joint presentation to state and federal folks on this area, and they actually recommended that we move back up to this region because of some of the constraints we had. So at that point in time, we had our state and federal folks pretty much locked in with us on this project, and that has reaped us benefits as far as grants goes.
And you said joint, that means you and the city, county and city?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
We're doing this cooperatively under our MOA agreement with the municipalities for our MPDS compliance purposes. What will happen here is we got support from the Water Resource Coordination Council for this project because there was a property purchase, land acquisition purchase on this property. And in order for that to happen, it kind of has to run the gauntlet. It's very similar to the Ag Advisory Board. The Water Resource Coordination Council actually gives its kind of blessing to this project because there are going to be funds expended for land acquisition. That is rare for us to do that in the MPDS program. Most of the time we are using our own properties or the municipalities' properties. So in this case, we ran it through their gauntlet. We then approached the commissioners, and the land acquisition for this property was undertaken. It's roughly about 5-acre property there. The folks were very cooperative, so that was done, that was achieved. At the same time, in 2016, we received grants from the state and State Highway Administration and the state DNR, Department of Natural Resources. And we also then started in 2017 entering into discussions with the Maryland Midland Railroad regarding how we were going to move dirt. Now, one of the biggest issues we have with our storm retrofits is how do we get rid of excess dirt. Our facilities are either in place, or they're going to be made larger. And so there's an enormous amount of earth materials that come out of there that we have to dispose of. We normally look for willing property owners to dispose of them, or county property. Anywhere we can find, we try to find the most cost-effective way to dispose of the dirt. In this case, there are 2 locations. There's a private property that we've identified between Westminster and New Windsor, and then the New Windsor, the town of New Windsor, they're trying to fill up their old wastewater treatment lagoons so that they can reuse them for other purposes. So we have previously put dirt from another retrofit in there, and now this dirt will provide a nice amount of material to, we hope, complete that process for them. The issue we had, there's a lot of dirt coming out of here. I think it's around 75,000 cubic yards, if I'm not mistaken. That equated to quite a number of dump truck loads of dirt. That's the normal way we do it. But you can see, based on the location here, the access road is right here on the eastern side of the property. It goes out onto George Street. You would have to go all the way up George Street and turn onto Liberty Road. And those of you who are familiar with that area understand some of the issues that we identified very early on in transporting what equates to probably, if you count a trip as being going and coming back, probably around 14,000 dump truck trips. And so what we looked at, and our staff was extremely innovative. I give them a lot of credit for this. What's another alternative? The other alternative is that railroad line that runs right next to the property. So they entered into discussions with the Maryland Midland, a local operating railroad here in Carroll County, based in Union Bridge. Had a discussion with them about can we somehow work out some type of arrangement to actually do that process. So that has been taking place since 2017. Please join me, Chris.
Sorry about that.
Right on cue.
Timing's everything in life.
You bet. So where we're at right now is we're waiting for the final plans to be gotten from the State Highway Administration. They're the folks who do the final sign-off on the plans. We've got grant funding in place. We're waiting for the final approval. We're preparing bid documents as we speak. So where we're today is we need to move forward with this transport process to get the Maryland Midland Railroad in line with us, because they have to order and get the gondolas, the dump trailers that they need to haul the dirt from somewhere else. And so our timing wise to get this project underway in early fall here, which that's our plan. We want to come before you to initiate this contract with the Maryland Midland to haul the earth. And I'm going to give Chris, I'm going to let him talk a little bit about this, because I think it's important for you to understand, and maybe you have questions, which maybe we can address ahead of time, about costs and about comparables here, because Chris did an enormous amount of work to make sure this was not just a better feasible way to move dirt, but an economically feasible way to do that.
I see we have an aerial view of where it's being removed from. Do we have an aerial view of the dump sites?
Not with us, but the one dump site is the Gullo property, which is between New Windsor, you know where the Huber's farm equipment operation is? In that field immediately adjacent to them. And then again at the New Windsor wastewater, the old lagoons there, which are right near the carnival grounds and the wastewater treatment plant, that one lagoon there.
That's going by rail from here to there.
Yes.
And then off the rail and to be spread out right on that site.
That's correct.
So I'm getting Dennis's dirt dumped in my district.
It's
Yes.
good dirt, good
That
dirt.
is
Well,
good dirt.
Okay, so With that said, I do have a question about that as well.
Sure.
But first, you said there's grant funding being in the process?
We have secured grant funding, and we also have funds in our capital improvement program to cover all of these costs. And they have been in place
Okay.
for many, many years
So-
with anticipation of this project.
How much is that grant funding?
Chris, do you want to indicate that?
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. I believe it's just over 2 million between the two grants. It's
So-
right around 2 million.
Yes.
Because, you know, to put it in context, to tell the story that we're now, you know, you're asking us to allocate the 560,000, even though it's within the budget, to this company to do the work.
That's correct.
There is funds from a grant that are packaged together to get it all done. If it's $2+ million, that's of interest to say that we're not just holding the full burden of this project. That's one. So that number is interesting. If it's good dirt, what other uses could be used for that dirt? And I think I've shared ideas. I mean, are there other ideas for personal use for that dirt that could be used instead of just going all the way up to New Windsor, filling in swimming pools and
Chris, do you want-
such?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris. You want to talk about some I mean, we looked
Okay.
at we looked at stockpiling on county, for
Uh-huh.
county use. Unfortunately, we've kind of tapped out our county stockpiles with prior projects, correct, Chris? So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of room there. The dirt that's going to the private entity, they're going to spread it on their ag fields, so it will be incorporated into their agricultural fields and become, continue to be productive agricultural use. And again, we think providing the town of New Windsor this product is very good because, again, what they want to do is once those lagoons are filled, they want to repurpose them into ball fields or something else. So this will complete that process where those lagoons are filled and they can actually then pursue, reuse of them. And it works very well with our memorandum of agreement we have with the municipalities as far as our MPDS permit, because this is a great sharing of resources, sharing of things amongst ourselves to make things work.
Yeah, and again, I applaud it. It's also part of the overall story that I think we should be able to tell. And if New Windsor can use this dirt for their vision of ball field and other efforts, that's great. I think, again, we're looking at using $500,000 of our money in partnership with a grant of $2+ million that you shared, moving this dirt that'll support Westminster's efforts and New Windsor's vision of ball fields or however they're going to repurpose that dirt. That's a very good news story for our community. And I think we should be able to capture that.
What do you use as your value per hour for trucking?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What the per hour trucking rate, what did you use to value that?
So, per hour. I'm sorry, I need to look through my notes here. I used a value of $80 per hour for the truck hauling cost in my estimates.
It's going to take them an hour to go out to New Windsor and back.
Yeah. My estimate was that
So,
if we were to haul by truck, that we would probably mobilize 20 trucks per
Yeah.
day, making 5 round trips per day. I don't know if Tom went into the details as to how much.
I was just
dirt.
looking at it, it adds up fast.
It adds up very
700
quickly.
loads or
Yeah.
seven, whatever it's going to be.
We're looking at over 7,000 trips, truck trips,
Yeah.
which is considerable.
Trip being over and back. I
Yeah.
indicated 14,000. I indicated it's like 14.
I'm sorry, I
How many
forgot
times
to
you
add a
could buy
zero to
somebody's
that.
house?
Right, but it's a lot of expense, plus we're going to be putting the roads back afterwards.
Right, remember the wear and tear on our roadways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, Commissioner Frazier's phone would be blowing up.
And those costs are costs we didn't, look at because we don't know that, but we looked at the tangible cost, what it actually cost, and they're very comparable. But then there's those other things about the roads and the public outcry and all that you can't really, at this point in time, estimate. So, we really feel that this is a very viable, method. Again, we're utilizing a local, business to do the hauling and all, which I think is something we try to strive for in all of our work that we do, when possible and when legally possible and when we can.
So how do they unload these things? I'm just curious.
So there's actually a specialized piece of equipment. It's an excavator that rides on top of the gondola cars, and it reaches down in and then unloads into a truck that's sitting next to it.
You know, again, I think,
It's like unloading a barge.
You can't just dump it. I think we all thought originally they could just dump it, but it doesn't dump far enough away. It dumps on the ballast,
truck.
so that can't happen. That's the unfortunate part.
you know, again, the end state is a good news story. What's happening here in Westminster, and then what the projections and vision for New Windsor. So I really do applaud that.
Is this a lot of topsoil?
No, it's not going to be a lot of topsoil. We'll probably keep most of the topsoil on site to cover over the finished grade. It's mostly going to be overburden. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Got to make the motion, the Board of County Commissioners approve the award of the contract to Maryland Midland for hauling material by rail to the site to New Windsor in the amount of $400.
Second.
Okay.
Just one question. What happens when we hit rock?
Dynamite.
Dynamite. We will have to blast
So
or
that
hammer
ups the
it.
price of this tremendously, right? If we hit a,
It would not affect the price of the hauling. It would affect the contract for constructing the facility. Now, that being said, this is constructed using, one of the grant sources is from Federal Highway Administration. And in their specifications, they do not differentiate rock excavation versus soil excavation. So that's an assumption that the contractor has to make based on the borings that we've done that show where rock is and where it isn't, how much excavation may be rock, and that is on the contractor then to address.
so you won't be coming back for a supplemental budget?
Correct, for the rock.
Good.
Okay. Any further discussion?
But we will be coming back to you for the contract to do the actual work here, so you'll be seeing us, we hope, very shortly with that.
Yes.
We look forward to it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about sports complex and light fixtures. Mr. Diggets.
And
Let me just keep running this.
before you get started, Jeff,
Yes.
I know are we done with the walks now?
Yes.
And
We have finished the walks for this
and
year.
the alleged counts of those persons who were involved in walks and et cetera?
Commissioner Weaver, you had 75, didn't you?
No, 65.
65, okay, so, yeah.
Wait.
Anyway,
You had more,
I
close
did.
to 80, didn't you?
I did.
Competition. We got to do this again next year.
Already in the plans.
anyway, could you give us an update, please, Jeff, on how they went? Because I heard a lot of folks.
accurate update or just an update?
No, I'd rather have an accurate update on how they're going.
Actually, those records weren't really.
Go ahead with the
Okay,
accurate
I'm not
update.
talking to you right now. I'm just not talking.
Yeah, there appear to be blinders on both sides there.
Go ahead with the accurate update. I have confidence in this.
Thank you, Commissioners, and good morning. As you recall, in late June, you all had issued a proclamation for July to be Recreational Parks Month. We had a calendar of activities. We had 31 activities, one for each day of the month. 10 of them were self-directed, but the other ones were led by various staff members within our department. Faced some tough weather with some of those really warm nights, but I think the response was good. The feedback was very positive. And of course, a part of that, the events, we had the 5 events, Walk with Your Commissioner. For that, we did have a grand total, how's this for a safe way of putting it out there, of 163 people who participated. Walking on our trails, a total of 5.25 miles on our trails. So the feedback that we got from people who came out was very positive. I think they appreciated the opportunity to meet with each of you. It was a relaxed setting. With the exception of one night, sorry, Commissioner Frazier, which was brutally hot and humid. People got a chance to ask questions and talk with each of you. I know I got a number of questions as well, and very, very positive. We were very pleased with how it went. And it did generate a friendly competition amongst the 5 of you, which was
No competition.
which was great to see.
There was no competition.
It was a wonderful idea. Wait, what?
There was no competition.
And thank you, Jeff. That was, it was kind of a very informal town hall meeting. It was.
Absolutely.
People liked the idea that just to have discussion about things, and on the trail, anything came up, so it was kind of neat. And there wasn't anything we really couldn't answer. We had enough people there from all different areas from the county to field almost any question that came up, so it was very appreciative of your efforts into that.
That's not how you filled your numbers, is it? Through county staff? No.
Yeah.
And nobody protested us.
Yeah, there was no picket signs or anything like that. They were very friendly with us.
No.
And Kona, and a really appreciation of Kona Ice afterwards.
That was a very nice treat after the
that
walk,
sure
especially
was.
on those warm nights. And I would be remiss if I did not thank each of you. I appreciate you and your willingness to participate in this. I know when I came to you with the idea initially, I'm thinking, I hope they say yes, and I hope you all say yes. And not only did you say yes, but you participated enthusiastically.
We're going to be at the skateboard parks next year, right?
Start ordering the padding now.
Wow.
Thank you, all of you.
No, great job to you and the team. Let's talk about lights in the fields.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We are asking for your approval to award a contract to PD Val Electric Company in the amount of $421,280 for the replacement of light fixtures for fields 1, 2, and 3 at the Carroll County Sports Complex. This cost includes all labor, material, and equipment. And this company was awarded contract number 164 through Harford County Government by competitively bid process. This cost is within the budget amount. And if you have any questions about the project, I'm sure Jeff could answer those.
For our viewers, can you explain the type of light fixtures they are so they can put it in perspective? This isn't just normal light fixtures.
Correct. This is replacing the existing light fixtures on fields 1, 2, and 3 at the Carroll County Sports Complex. It's replacing them with LED lights, so this is newer technology. It will be much better lighting, and it will be cheaper to operate than what's been in place since the creation of the complex. The original lights were installed in 1990.
So it'll reduce their electrical consumption. So we'll
Correct.
get a return on it.
We'll have savings there, and again, we'll have a better product of lighting, and also we'll have less spillage in light from the facility into the surrounding properties.
Is there a potential life expectancy on these that we're looking at?
I would say it'd be at least 20 years.
Okay.
The original lighting, 1990?
1990, yes, sir. The complex was
30
built in
years.
1989, and the lights were installed in 90.
Got it.
Also put a solar array next to this to offset the
supplies.
Does it work that way? As you turn on the lights, they charge the.
Hey,
Actually,
Okay.
We have the landfill right
yeah,
there.
say
right?
the old Northern Landfill's right
Right.
behind it, but I know there's
Right.
some challenges with that one, but, you know. Yeah, that'll be good, because the light spillage is interesting always on a hot summer night. When I'm going back and forth past there 87 times like I do, it'll be interesting to see the difference between those 1990 lights and the new LEDs.
Yeah,
That'll
I
probably
agree.
be a great advantage for the folks. I actually haven't heard any complaints up there at all, but, you know.
I think
it'd be nice
people
to
have
keep
adjusted
it-
over time. You have
Yeah.
some of those houses right across the street, which you get
Yeah.
a pretty significant impact. And we have Westminster Astronomical Society up at Bear Branch Nature Center. When the lights are on, it's not the easiest to look at the stars.
Yeah,
So
everybody
this will help
refers
them
to it
as
up there
well.
as the Field of Dreams.
It's going to be impressive.
Yeah.
Now we'll be able to see it from Baltimore, right?
Okay. Got a motion?
I'll move that we award the project to PD Val Electric Company Incorporated for the replacement of fixtures at the sports complex, $421,280.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's talk about program open space.
All right. Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, next is the FY20 program open space allocation to the municipalities. And for the benefit of our two newer commissioners, I want to give you a little background information on how we handle the program open space funds that come from the state of Maryland. We receive a total amount of funding we take 25% of those funds each year, allocate them to town projects. We have a town-county agreement that specifies that. Not only do we take that 25%, set it aside for towns, but then also there is a 90%, 10% split. It requires a 10% local match for the town projects. We then pay half of that local match, the towns pay the other half. So why do we do this for the municipalities? We have a lot of county residents who participate in activities at municipal parks and vice versa. So it is truly a win-win. We try to allocate the funds equitably throughout the county. Now, we have 8 municipalities. We take turns in how they're allocated. They go to 4 municipalities one year. The next year, the other 4 would receive funding. The dollar amounts, as you might imagine, vary each year because the total funding through program open space varies each year. And so luck of the draw, you may get more or less depending on that year's particular budget. We ask the towns to submit their projects. They then review them. The local chapter of MML, Maryland Municipal League, reviews the projects. They make a recommendation as to which ones should be funded and which amounts. And no, it's not just a coincidence that they're all exactly the same amount of money. They, more often than not, will divide that pot by 4 and put the money towards those projects. So very briefly, the projects that are being requested for the town of New Windsor, 201 West Main Street. This would be a new park. This is right across the street from the Dealman Inn. Looking at some paved patio, walkway, gazebo, and park benches and some lighting there. Tawnytown, at Tawnytown High School Park, the playground improvements. This is actually a replacement to the playground that was there. So this will be putting in a newer version of it. Union Bridge Community Center, they have some parking lot enhancements, paving, ADA improvements, and then also having to move some light poles. And Westminster's is Phase 1 construction over at Wakefield Valley Park. This will be for a picnic shelter and again, ADA access and parking improvements.
I'm happy to see that 2 of those projects are in my district.
Should move this forward?
All right, unless there's any discussion, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the recommendation of the local chapter of the Maryland Municipal League for fiscal year 2020 municipal program open space projects.
I'll second that.
Okay, again, great testament and partnership between us and the municipalities, so looks great. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, last on the open agenda, I think, is the Pipe Creek kayak launch. Double Pipe Creek
Yes.
kayak launch.
This subject is dear to my heart.
Okay.
We have a current capital project to improve canoe and kayak access at Double Pipe Creek Park. And funding for construction just became available in July. We're finishing with the design process now, and we'll be moving ahead with construction shortly. We also have a 2-acre parcel on Hapes Mill Road that was recently purchased, which provides access to the same water trail that culminates down at Double Pipe Creek. And we're working with the town of Union Bridge for an additional access point on Little Pipe Creek. What we have found is that a lot of these components of this project interact with each other. In particular, signage is probably the best example. We'll have a signage with a map of the water trail. It'll show the locations of the trails, different rules, how to check the water levels, safety advice. Literally, the only difference between the signs will be the little red dot that says you are here or here or here. So in doing this and then working with budget and accounting, there's a desire to try to capture all of these expenses within one project. So what we are requesting today is to see if we can transfer some money from trail development account, $20,000 from that, into the Double Pipe Creek capital project. That will help with expenses for the parking area and for the signage for each of these, because they all basically support the same water trail. You're just coming into the town of Detour from a different route. We also still expect to do some of this work with donations and also through some donated material or donations to our Park Legacy Fund. But anything with funding, we could then transfer the funding into the capital project, should we need to do that. But the 20,000 in trail development money would support it right now.
I visited this site location when you first cleared it out. It's a nice location. It's my understanding you've actually kayaked it.
I have.
He
Beautiful.
described it. There you go.
Survived, came out the other end, got a little wet on the dismount down in Detour, but beautiful location, saw multiple bald eagle, owls, heron, and not a single person. It is a true gem. Beautiful outdoor recreation.
Taking this money out of trail development fund, is that because we don't have any trails to develop right now, or nothing in the project, or?
We don't have anything that has like a grant component where you would need a local match right now. There is still a balance in that trail development fund. There's no money moving forward in it, but there's still some balance of money left from prior years. So if we do see an opportunity to use that for a different trail-related project, then it's still there for that.
Do you know the balance?
I want to say 30,000 plus or minus.
Okay.
That's remaining. That would be after this
After
transfer.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve Resolution C-20.01 for the transfer of $20,000 from Trail Development number 8725 to Double Pipe Creek Kayak Launch number 8773 to account for all costs in the single capital account.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye, I think. I don't, what?
Thank you, Mr. Daggett.
Thank you very much.
Remember, we're going to go kayaking together one day.
Look forward to cutting that ribbon.
There you go.
At the new launch?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, before we go to agendas, any public comment? Hearing none, let's go to agendas or administration.
Either way
Agendas,
you'd like to do it.
agendas are fine. Okay, starting next week, on August 5th, there are none. Tuesday, August 6th, we have National Night Out. Across the county, there will be also National Night Out, I know in Sykesville as well. But Tawnytown, Commissioner Wentz will be attending. Hampstead, Commissioner Weaver. The one at the Freedom Firehouse, I will also be attending that evening.
You could probably just make it a blanket
Yeah, I'll be-
national night out.
National
We're gonna
Night
be
Out.
National
wherever.
Night Out in Westminster,
Yeah.
but I
So-
go to like 6 different locations.
So I think capturing the National Night Out activities
just-
in the county, there's plenty.
Yeah, because
And I
I'll be in
think-
Manchester as well.
Right.
So,
So if we
so
can
I
just-
just say national night, I mean, unless you
Yeah.
want to just specifically point them out. If you do, that's fine, but there's a correction.
Right.
This
In
has
Tawny
become
Town, it's not-
major in Carroll
Yeah.
County as far as
It-
National Night Out, a number of people
It's the
coming
firemen's
out.
activity.
It is, so I think on the agenda, we could just
Firemen's.
share that National Night Out will be attending
Mhm.
the National Night Out activities on
I'll just put
Tuesday the
various
6th,
locations.
but the fact is, also, we should capture the National Night Out activities on the 6th, and maybe share that across the board, because there's a lot of them. On Wednesday, the 7th, at 9:30 a.m., Farm Museum Advisory Board, Commissioner Wentz will be attending. On Thursday, we have closed session, then open session, starting at 9:30. Adjustment 9:30 on the 8th and not 10. So starting at 9:30, we will have, talking about FY 19 year-end adjustments. Then,
Wait a minute.
what?
I put 198.
That's right, FY 19 year-end adjustments. We'll be talking about FY 20 promoting safe and stable families program grant award. Then youth and family engagement program grant award. Section 8 management assessment program certification. Substance use recovery treatment services and residential triage beds, bid approval for tot lot replacement at Deer Park, a request for approval to exercise option to purchase for Kevin J. Henley through the Critical Farms program, okay? Let's see, request approval, grant application, award acceptance, Carroll County outfall remediation. Discussion with county staff regarding proposed 2020 General Assembly legislation. That will be, we'll be meeting with the delegation a couple weeks after that. We will be talking briefing, public hearing, July 25th, 2019, what is this? Purchasing bid protest.
Right, this is your decision.
Oh, it's a decision on the bid protest, got it, apologize. Then we'll go into closed session, let's see. We will have open session comprehensive rezoning on the 8th in the afternoon at 1 p.m.
Always exciting.
Reminder, Friday on the 9th, county offices will be closing at 3 p.m. Saturday, there's nothing. Sunday, I will be giving the radio commissioners report. And then Commissioner Wentz and I will be attending the Vietnam Veteran Honoring Celebration on the 11th, Sunday afternoon. The following week, Monday, nothing. On Tuesday, Ag Center Board meeting, Commissioner Wentz will be attending. Wednesday starts the Maryland Association of Counties Summer Conference down Ocean City, where we will all be attending Wednesday the 14th through Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon the 17th. And then on Sunday, the commissioner report will be given by Commissioner Frazier. Okay. Any administrative? Please.
I have one. We were contacted by Andrea Bursler, the director of the Carroll County Public Libraries, asking you to support a grant application that they're going for funding for the library. So I have a letter for you guys to sign in support of that application. Hopefully we will.
Okay.
It's the Jerry Klein Community Impact Prize that they're going on.
Okay, anything else administratively? Before we go into closed session dealing with land acquisition, I guess we need a motion to
Recess.
adjourn
No.
first?
No, motion to go into closed.
Motion go into closed?
Right, for land acquisition.
For land acquisition?
Right, and then you need a motion to.
And then
adjourn.
motion to adjourn afterwards.
So moved.
Well, no,
You gotta do
I'm gonna
both.
go-
Let's
okay.
do them both.
You gotta do
separately.
both
So,
separate.
A motion to
Go in close.
go into closed land acquisition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You made it, so.
Then a motion to adjourn. A motion to adjourn.
And then a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you very